Kunja Vihari Radha Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jayo Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha Madhava Shri Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paripajikacharya Ashtotar Shri Shri Madhava Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Jaya Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki, Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Jai Sri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki, Jai Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki, Bhakti Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki, Shri Shri Radha Vallabh Ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai Ki, Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Jai Grantharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayad Mudirayet Nasta Praeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikim. We continue our reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18. Chapter entitled The Residents of Jambudvip Offer Prayers. Text number 7. Now, this verse is in prose, so I'll just read through once and then we'll go for word for word. Harivarshe chapi bhagavan nara hari rupanaste tadrupa grahana nimittam uttarartha bhibhase yad Dvaitam Rupam Mahapurusha Gunabhajano Mahabhagavato Daitya Danava Kula Tirthi Karana Shila Charita Pralado Abhyabadhananyat Bhakti Yogena Sahaytad Varsha Purushair Upasyate Idam Chodaharati word for word Harivarse in the tract of land known as Harivarsha. Cha also Api indeed Bhagavan the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narahari Rupena in the form of Nrsimhadev. Aste is situated. Tadrupa Grahana Nimittam. The reason why Lord Krishna, the Kesava, assumed the form of Nrsimha. Uttarartra in the later chapters. Avivhasya say, I shall describe that Dvaitam most pleasing, Rupam form of the Lord, Mahapurusha Gunabhajana. Prahlad Maharaj, who is the abode of all good qualities of great personalities. Mahabhagavata, the topmost devotee. Daityadanava Kula Tirtha Karana Shila Charita, whose activities and characters were so exalted that he delivered all Daityas, demons born in the family, in his family. Prahladaha, Maharaj Prahlad, Abhyaya Dhana Ananya Bhakti Yogena, by uninterrupted and unflinching devotional service. Saha with Tad Varsa Purushair, the inhabitants of Harivarsha, Upaste, offer obeisances to and worship. Idam, this, cha, and, udaharati, chants. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, Lord Nrsimha resides in the tract of land known as Harivarsha. In the 7th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, I shall describe to you how Prahlad Maharaj causes the Lord to assume the form of Nrsimhadev. Prahlad Maharaj, the topmost devotee of the Lord, is a reservoir of all the good qualities of great personalities. His characters and activities have delivered all fallen members of the demoniac family. Lord Nrsimhadev is very dear to this exalted personality. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj, along with his servants and all denizens of Harivarsha, worship Lord Nrsimhadev by chanting the following mantra. Translation responsibly. Sukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, Lord Nrsimhadev resides in the tract of land known as Harivarsha. In the 7th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, I shall describe to you how Prahlad Maharaj caused the Lord to assume the form of Nrsimhadev. Prahlad Maharaj, the topmost devotee of the Lord, is a reservoir of all good qualities of great personalities. His characters and activities have delivered all fallen members of the demoniac family. Lord Nrsimhadev is very dear to this exalted personality. Thus Prahlad Maharaj, along with his servants and all denizens of Harivarsha, worships Lord Nrsimhadev by chanting the following mantra. Purport. Jayadev Goswami's 10 prayers worshipping the incarnations of the Lord Krishna or Kesava contains his name in every stanza. For example, Kesava Dhrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisa Hare. Kesava Dhrita Meena Sarira Jaya Jagadisa Hare. And Kesava Dhrita Vamana Rupa Jaya Jagadisa Hare. The word Jagadish refers to the proprietor of all universes. His original form is the two-handed form of Krishna, standing with a flute in his hand and engaged in tending the cows, as stated in Brahma Samhita. Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha avriteshu surabhi ravipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra satasam brahmasebhyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desires in a abode built with the spiritual gems and surrounded by millions of purpose trees. He is always served with a great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. From this verse, we can learn that Govinda or Krishna is the Adi Purusha, the original person. The Lord has innumerable incarnations, exactly like innumerable waves of the flowing river. But the original form is Krishna or Kesava. Sukadeva Goswami refers to Nrsimhadev because of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was put into a great distress by powerful father, the demon Hiranyakashipu, apparently helpless before him. Prahlad Maharaj called on the Lord, who immediately assumed the gigantic form of Nrsimhadev, half lion and half man, to kill the gigantic demon. Although Krishna is the original person, one without second, he assumes the different forms just to satisfy his devotees or execute a specific purpose. Therefore, Jayadev Goswami always repeats the name of Kesava, the original personality of Godhead, in his prayers describing the Lord's different incarnations for different purpose. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Snapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhamitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tatta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, wonderful section of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We are now hearing the wonderful prayers of the residents of Jambudvip. Sorry? Harivarsa. Yes, I mean residents of, yes. Okay, so just the cosmological side of it. So Harivarsa is one of the 9 Varsha of Jambudvip. Now, as we know, the Bhumandala is divided into 7 islands, Dvipas, Saptadvipa. And one of the Dvipa is known as Jambudvip. The Jambudvip is the most center, the circle of the island is the innermost. This island is Jambudvip. Now Jambudvip is divided into 9 Varsas. Varsa refers to a tract of land which is divided by mountains. Just like Dvipa is the meaning of Dvipa is the land which is divided by water. Dvi means 2, Pa means water. So 2 sides there is water and there is land between. That's called Dvipa, land. So the Jambudvip is now divided into by the different mountains, and it is known as Varsas. So just like we have, so what are the 9 verses? We have initially, so if we go more, if you take a circle and you go towards the south, going from south to north. So we have first is Bharatvarsha. Now Bharatvarsha is, according to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, different Puranas, Bharatvarsha is not just the Bharatvarsha we actually know as, or India. It's not. The Bhāgavatam, the version of Bhāgavatam of Bharatvarsha is slightly different than what we understand. So version of Bhāgavatam is the tract of land. The Jambudvipa is divided into 9. The total, the measurement is 100,000 yojana. So Bharatvarsha is about 900,000 yojana long or width or the measurement. So the Bharatvarsha is now divided into 9 subdivisions as well. So we are based in one of the 9 section or khanda. We are known as khanda. So the Mother Earth is one of the section of Bharatvarsha. This Bharatvarsha was previously known as Ajanava Varsha. Now, Ajanava Varsha is referring to the land ruled by Rishabhadev. That's why it's called Ajanava. Aja means one who is unborn. Nava is the king, the Navi, who is the son of Agnidra, the grandson of Priyavrata Maharaj. So Ajanava means in the family of Navi, he who is unborn is born. It's called Ajanava. And before Bharat Maharaj, the land was known as Ajanava Varsha. Now then, later on, Bharat Maharaj ruled so nicely, perfectly, and then he was renamed as Bharata Varsha. Each of these 9 verses have got a prominent residence. So the prominent residence of this Bharatvarsha is Narada Muni. Each of these verses have got a prominent worshipable deities. So the worshipable deities of Bharatvarsha is Naranarayan Rishis. The next Varsha is called Kim Purusha Varsha. The Kim Purusha Varsha, where the main resident is Hanuman. Hanuman is accompanied by all the great personality who assisted in the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra with Sugriva, Angad and all those. They're residing in Kim Purusha Varsha. Now next verse is Hari Varsha, which we are hearing is Prahlad Maharaj is the main resident of Hari Varsha. Now, Hari Varsha, who is the main worshipable deity? Lord Nrsimhadev. See, what is the title of this chapter? Is the prayers offered by the Jambudvipa. So Jambudvipa is now divided into 9, and Hari Varsha is one of the Varsha. Now we're hearing the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is the resident of Hari Varsha. Now next is Ilavrata Varsha. We just heard last chapter. Lord Shiva is the main resident in the Ilavrata Varsha. And his worshipable Lord is Lord Shankarshan. Yes. So we heard the prayers of Lord Shiva as well. We heard the next verse is Bhadrasva Varsha. We just heard Bhadrasva Varsha, who is the main resident is Bhadrasrava, who is the son of Dharmaraj, right? So, who is the worshipable deity of Bhadrasrava? Hayagriva, Hayashesha, yes? So, we heard the prayers of Bhadrasrava, offering prayers to Hayagriva. I think Prabhupada was giving class yesterday and said, why Hayagriva assumed the form of half horse head and half human body, similar to Nrsimhadev. I just did a little quick research. One of the reasons given is that there was a demon by the name Hayagriva, who was the son of Kashyapa as well. And that Hayagriva demon had the head of a horse, body of a human. And he worshipped Durga and pleased her. And he said, only person who can kill me is who should have the same form as me. In other words, he was trying to defy there's no, in the creation, that has got a half horse and half lion body, doesn't exist. It's not in Brahma's creation. He was trying to be immortal. So he worshipped Durga and trying to trick and said, okay, only person who can kill me is who has the same form as me. So that's why. And then there's also there's 2 pastimes related to Hayagriva. So that's why the Lord took a form as horse, half horse, half, And then he also killed that demon, as well as he also killed, there's a Madhu and Kaitava, who also stole the Vedas and hid under the water. And then that Hayagriva also killed those two demons in that form. So the next verse says Ketumala Varsha, whose the resident is Mother Lakshmi. Lakshmi worships Pradyumna, the form of Lord Vishnu, and Pradyumna or Kamadev. In that Varsha, we will hear the prayers that's coming up. Thus far we heard the prayers of the residents of Ilavarta Varsha by Lord Shiva, and we heard the prayers by Bhadrasha Varsha, which is in the north side, and we also heard the prayers. We're hearing the prayers of Hare Varsha, which is Prahlad Maharaj. So now the Ketumala Varsha, Mother Lakshmi is the main resident, and she's worshipping there Kamadev or the Lord Pradyumna. Next verse is Ramyaka Varsha, where Vaivashyata Manu is the main resident there, and he worships Matsya. The next verse is Hiranmaya Varsha, where Aryama, I think it's one of the Vashus, the head of the Vashus, worships Lord Kurmadev. And there's a Kuru Varsha, or Uttara Kuru Varsha, where Mother Bhumi is the main resident. The personification of Bhumi Earth, or Mother Earth, is Bhumi. Bhumi resides in Kuru Varsha, and she worships Lord Varahadev. He is the worshipable deity of that particular tract of land. Now these 9 islands are Bhauma Swargas. They are the heavenly, heavenly realm within the Bhumandala. That's why they call Bhauma Swarga. Now, I was just doing a quick research. Now, these 9 varsas, all forms of worship is Lord Vishnu. And if you look at the worshipable deities of the 7 islands, except for Jambudweep, the worshipable deities are demigods. So only in Jambudweep, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in different forms. And the other islands, for example, we have the islands of Jambudweep, we just described the 9 deities of Lord Vishnu worshipped. Next island of the 7 islands is Plakshadweep. In Plakshadweep, the sun god is worshipped as a main deity. And the next island is Salmali Dweep, which is moon god is worshipped there as a prominent worshipper. And Kushadweep, we have Agni. Kronchadweep, we have Varuna. Sakadweep, we have Vayu. And Pushkaradweep, Lord Brahma is worshipped as a this is in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, just information. So, so in this is the context of where we are. So we are hearing the prayers by the residents of the island. Today we're hearing, starting the Hare Varsha. In Hare Varsha, Prahlad Maharaj is the main resident, and he's now offering, Sukadeva Goswami is narrating the prayers that are offered by Sukadeva, these residents. Today we're hearing of the prayers. In fact, the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj starts tomorrow's verse. Today is the qualities are Prahlad Maharaj is described by Sukadeva Goswami. The wonderful qualities. What does he say? He says, Mahapurusha. Prahlad Maharaj describes Mahapurusha, exalted, great personalities. Mahabhagavata. Daitya Danava Kula Tirtha Karana Sila Charita. He's born in the family of demons, yet he is the guna tirtha, in holy pilgrimage. Consider Kula Tirtha means one who can deliver the demoniac, entire demoniac race. He appears in that. So, as in this translation, today's verse says, Prahlad Maharaj, the topmost devotee of the Lord, is the reservoir of all good qualities of great personalities. His characters and activities have delivered all the fallen members of his family, demoniac family. Lord Nrsingadeva is very dear to this exalted personality. Such is the great qualities. In the 7th canto, we whole canto almost dedicated to the activities in Prahlad Maharaj is on Nrsingadev. In fact, all those, I think 7 or 8 chapters is describing the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj, qualities and activities of Prahlad Maharaj. I think only 3 or 4 chapters is describing the activities of Nrsingadev. But predominantly in 7th canto, it's all activities, the great exalted position of Prahlad Maharaj is described in the 7th canto. This, in the 7th canto, the activities of the pastime is narrated by Narad Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj. When Yudhishthira Maharaj actually visited after the Rajasuya Yagya, at that time Yudhishthira Maharaj takes advantage of the Narad Muni's presence and he asks different questions. In that, Narad Muni is describing the pastimes of Lord Nrsimhadev and Prahlad Maharaj. So in that, Narad Muni describes a very wonderful, the qualities of, further qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. I want to probably touch those ones. This is on the 7th canto, chapter 4, text 31, where he describes the great qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. First is Brahmanya. He was completely cultured as the qualified Brahmana. That's the Prabhupada's translation of that word, Brahmanya. What is Brahmana? Is it Brahmana by birth? No. Yeah. Janmana jayate Shudra. Samskarat bhavet Dvija. Right? So by birth, one is born as Janmana jayate Shudra. Yes? Right, bro? Sorry? Oh, so Janma is by Janma, everyone is born as Shudra. Samskarat bhavet Dvija. By Veda Pathat bhavet Vipra. Brahma janati iti Brahmana. So Prahlad was the epitome of the Brahmana. What is the meaning of Brahmana? Brahma janati. One who knows the Brahma. Brahma is referring to both material and spiritual knowledge. Not just material knowledge is one who knows the Brahmana. He knows one who knows both spiritual and material. That is Brahmana. So Prahlad Maharaj was Brahmanya, the cultured as the qualified Brahmana. That's the quality described by Narad Muni. Sila Sampanna, possessing all good qualities. Satya Sandha, being determined to understand the absolute truth. Satya. What is Satya? The absolute truth. Absolute truth is God. So he who knows the absolute truth is Prahlad Maharaj. Jitendriya. What does Jitendriya means? One who has conquered his senses and mind. Prahlad Maharaj is Jitendriya. Prabhupada's translation, he had full control of his senses and mind. Jitendriya. Atmavat sarva bhuteshu. What's bhuteshu? All living entities. Sarva bhuteshu. Atmavat. He who sees as himself in all the other living entities. In other words, he respects and sees in every living entity as a Lord Paramatma is residing in there. Atmavat, he sees as himself. Sarva bhuteshu, not just the human beings. Sarva bhuteshu means all living beings. Sruhit Tama. Tama means the highest. He was the best friend of everyone. Friend, Suhrit. Suhrit means one who is best well-wisher or friend. Tama means highest. Dasavat Santata Arya Angrita. To respectable person, he was exactly like menial servant. How did he deal with others who were superiors? As he would menial servant. Yeah? So Prahlad Maharaj is teaching us by example how we should act. What are the qualities? Pitrivat Dinavat Sala. To poor, he was just like a Pitra or Pitri or father. So how was he with the elderlies? He was like a menial servant. How was he with poor? He was as compassionate as his father. Bhatrivat Sadrise. To equals, he was attached like a sympathetic brother. So the elders, he was serving as a menial. To poor who were junior than him, he was just like a father. To equals, how was he? No, like a brother. And he considered his teachers, his spiritual master and older God brothers to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Snigdha Gurushu Ishwara Bhavena. So he considered the teachers, spiritual masters, older God brothers to be as good as his Supreme Personality of Godhead. How did he treat his God brothers and elderly seniors, teachers and everything? As good as. Shakshad Haritve Nashamasa Sastre. Gurus is worshipped as equal to Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was his dealings with the... He was completely free of Vivarjita, means free. Free of unnatural pride, mana. And he might have risen from... And he had a knowledge, education, vidya, artha. He was not proud of having mana, or he didn't have any pride for vidya, for learning. He was highly learned, but yet he was not proud. And he had a lot of riches, artha. He was not proud. He had a beauty, rupa. He was not proud. He had a janma, the aristocratic birth in the royal family. He was not proud. And the sloka ends with adaya, etc. That doesn't end that Prahlad Maharaj's qualities. These are the qualities that he describes. Narad Muni describing the great qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. It's the adaya, etc. There's more to come. There's more, a lot more. Such was the great personality described as Prahlad Maharaj. Now let's tap into few of his teachings in 7th canto of Prahlad Maharaj. As we know, Prahlad Maharaj offers. And how old is Prahlad Maharaj when he taught this to his students? 5 years old. And let's hear the teachings of 5 years old. Prahlad Maharaj said, this is in the 7th canto, chapter 5, text 30. Matirna Krishna parato sato va. Very famous, one of the famous. Mitho abhipadet grihabratanam adanta gobhir visatam tamistram punha punash charvita charvitananam. Matirna Krishna, go to Krishna. Have an inclination for Krishna. Inclination for who? Krishna, right? Matirna Krishna. By parata, by the help of others. Who are others? Spiritual masters, your parents, elderly, one who can give you siksha gurus, diksha gurus, parents. Parata, take the help. Swata, by your own endeavor. By learning, by studying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So you learn from who? Parata, from others, take help. For what? Matirna Krishna, to know Krishna. Take a help of Parata, those who you can get it from others. Swata, by your endeavor. Mitho, combine both the help of others and your endeavor, combine. Avipetita grihabratanam. If you are grihabrata, and control your senses. Adanta gobhir visatam tamistram. Punah charvita charvitanam. If you don't serve Krishna, Matirna Krishna, you will go into a punha charvita charvanana. You will go into this again, chewing the chewed. In the cycle of chewing the chewed. This is Prahlad Maharaj. So don't get into this chewing the chewed. Take the help of others, serve Krishna. By your own endeavor, serve Krishna. Komaram acharit pragyo dharman bhagavatam iha durlavam manusam janma tadapyam adhruvam arthadam. You have get this rare human form of life. Durlavam manusam deham. What do you do with it? When do you start? Prahlad Maharaj says, Komaram acharit pragyo. From very beginning. There are different stages, like Komara means the early childhood. Komara, Poganda. What are the stages, Prabhu? Komara, Poganda, Kaishwarya. Komara, yeah. Komara refers to the age between, I think, from birth to 5 years old. It's called, sorry? 5 to 10, okay. Oh, Balya is a 0 to 5. Yeah, it's the same. Komara and Balya, I think they combine together, as far as I understand. Yeah. Right? And then the next one is? Poganda. Yes. What's the age gap? 5 to 10, I think, is Poganda, yeah. Then Komara, then Kaishwarya. Yeah. Anyway, so Prahlad Maharaj says, from Kaumara, age of Kaumara, 5 years. Before that, I think you probably don't have any control. If you're younger than 5 years old, do they have that much senses now? But 5 years onwards, they can distinguish. Prahlad Maharaj says, start there. Yeah. Acharya Prabhu Bhagavan Itanya Durlabam Manusam Deha. Manusa Deha, very Durlava. Is Adhrubam. It is temporary, but it says Arthadam. Artha means valuable. Yes, Prabhu translated as excellent. Arthadam means valuable, something which is very valuable. Even though it's temporary, Adhrubam, Dhruva means permanent, Adhrubam means temporary. But even though it's temporary, but it is Arthadam, it can give you greatest value. So use it. That's teaching of Prahlad Maharaj. Another beautiful one. He says, even though you may have all these in full, he gives but 9, I think it's 11, gives but in full. You may have possesses this, but you cannot please the Lord. What are the things? He says, Manye dhana. What's dhana? Wealth. Very good. Huh? Dhana. He starts with, even you have a full, in maximum. Right? Why is the dhana is? Because the whole dhana, whatever you possess, it's not yours. You may be a king of the whole universe. Does it belong to you? It will belong to you and as long as you're living there. How long can you live? 100 years? After 100 years is gone. You're not the possessor. The possessor is the Supreme Lord. So Prahlad Maharaj considers dhana as a, you may possess the whole entire lot, but that dhana is going to go away when you die. So it's useless, temporary. Dhana. Avijana, aristocratic families. Dhana, avijana, you may be born into an aristocratic family. Rupa, personal beauty, form. Tapa, austerity. These are, if you have it in full, he said, all this is not going to please the Lord. So dhana, avijana, rupa, tapa, struta, knowledge. Oja, sensory powers. We have Ojasvi Prabhu here. Ojasa means this one who has a sensory power in full. Teja, the bodily effulgence. Prabhava, influence. Pala, bodily strength. Paurusha, diligence. Buddhi, intelligence. Yoga, mystic power. All these, he says, na aradhanaya, will not please the Lord. Then he says, bhavanti are. What's it says? Na aradhanahi bhavanta parasya pumsho bhaktya tutosa bhagavan gazayuthapaya. You have all these in full, is not going to please the Lord. What is going to please the Lord is bhaktya tutosha. Tosa means asutosa, right? Like Lord Shiva is known as asutosa. Tosa means satisfied. How can the Lord be satisfied? By bhaktya tutosha. How? He says, Gazayuthapaya, Gajendra. He said, Gajendra didn't have any of these. I mean, he had everything, but he was in the middle, the whole crocodile was holding his hand. At that time, he had nothing. Even though he had everything, but he had nothing. You could look at the situation. So then Prahlad Maharaj links to says, look, Gajendra, he didn't have all this. But yet, what did he have? Bhaktya tutosa. He could please. Now, another glorious thing of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavatam is the literature of bhakti, right? It glorifies bhakti. Prahlad Maharaj, for example, he's born, what is he? If you look at it materially, what is he? He's born in the family of demon, right? Yet, whole canto is dedicated. Why? Because Prahlad Maharaj was bhakta, devotee. So it's not giving, it's for performing a bhakti. It's not a qualification of all those Prahlad Maharaj describes. Having a good birth, you're born you have a knowledge, full knowledge. Nah. You can be born as a demon and become a greatest devotee. Then we have Bali Maharaj, who was a demon also. He was a great devotee. Bhagavatam glorifies him. Vitrasura was a devotee. Bhagavat glorifies him. If you read Rig Veda, the pastimes of Vitrasura and in the killing of Indra is glorified. But here in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Vitrasura is glorified because Vitrasura was a devotee. Even animals is glorified because he was doing bhakti. Who? Gajendra. Yes? So doesn't matter who you are. You're born in the family of demon, you can be still a devotee. Only bhakti can take you out of this world. Everything else, you will remain in this material world. Yes? Bhagavatam confirms this by these different personalities. Even you're a child. Who are the childs in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? Prahlad Maharaj, yes. Dhruva Maharaj. Do you need to be an adult? Do you need to be an adult to perform devotion service? Bhagavatam says no. Dhruva Maharaj was a child. Sorry? 4 Kumaras. Kumaras in a different category, I would say. I wouldn't put them in the children category. They are different categories. But yes, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Even you are an outcast in somewhere doing a prostitution, like Pingala in 11th canto. She is glorified. Even though she was a prostitute, her teachings are in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, pages of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So even you performing some other activities that's not high class, become a devotee, you can do a devotion service. Doing a devotion service does not restrict by your education, your age, your gender, your place of birth. No. Bhagavatam says everybody can do a devotion service. Kunti Maharani was this lady, glorified as for doing devotion service. Draupadi, Mother Devahuti. Now, in this particular pastime, let's look at the predicament of the Lord. 2 devotees he's dealing with. Lord Nrsimhadev. Lord Nrsimhadev is dealing with, one is Brahma in this particular pastimes, and other one is Prahlad Maharaj, right? In one side, Brahma gives a benediction to Hiranyakashipu. Huh? And other side, Prahlad Maharaj says, "Where is your God? Show me your God." Now, Lord, Brahma has given the benediction. Let's read the Brahma's benediction. See, this is another great thing. Like the materialistic, what is the desire of materialistic? So when Hiranyakashipu performed austerity for 35 years, I think it was right, 35,000 of years of austerity. After that, what he pleased Lord Brahma, right? What did he ask first thing? He said, "Give me a benediction that I will be immortal." Brahmaji said, "My dear grandson," I think he's a great grandson. Hiranyakashipu would be great grandson. So Lord Brahma's son is Marichi, Marichi's son is Kashyapa, Kashyapa's son is Hiranyakashipu. Great grandson? Yeah. So my dear great grandson, right? He said, "Even I am not immortal. I will have to also die. I cannot give you that. Sorry." Then Hiranyakashipu being a smart, right? What does he ask? This is in the 7th canto, chapter 3, text 36-37. Let's see what's the Hiranyakashipu tried to trick that I will be immortal, right? He asked for a benediction. He says, "Okay, grant me a benediction that I will not die from these." All right? He says, "Antaha," within the residence, inside the residence, right? Bahi, outside the residence. Diva, during a day. Nakta, at night. Bhomam, on the ground. Ambare, in the sky. Okay, and it says Anyasmat, means by any being other than those created by you. So he says, inside, outside, day, night, land or sky, right? And so any being that is not created by you, I shouldn't be killed. Ayudh, any weapons. Narai, not by any human beings. Mrigai, not by animals. So, conditions. What is Hiranyakashipu's trick is to be immortal. And he said, "I will not be killed inside, outside, day or night, land or sky, by any creatures that's created by you, by Brahma. No weapons, no human beings, no animals. Can anything else that, right? Trying to, first class conditions. I mean, in the material term, how can it be killed? Right? Not only these, listen to further. He says, "I will not meet my death by any any entity, living or non-living." Furthermore, conditions. By Shura, not by demigods. Asura, not even by demons. Maha Uragai, by any snakes or reptiles, even from the lower planets. Then he said, therefore grant me the benediction that I may have no rival, no enemy. Give me a sole leadership over the living entities and presiding deities, which are demigods, and give me all glories or mahima by that position. Furthermore, give me all the mystic powers attained by long austerities and practices of yoga, for these cannot be lost at any time. That is completely foolproof, isn't it? According to material calculation, that will be complete. How can it be dead? If you have all the power, Brahma se tathastu, take it, done. Now this is a predicament. Lord, now Lord has to fulfill this. I think during when Lord Nrsimhadev is pacified and everything, I think he did chastise Brahma. He said, "Don't do this again." One of the slokas says, "Yes, don't do this again. He may put me in so much trouble," right? He did. He does. One of the slokas says, Lord clearly says, "Lord Brahma, don't do this again," because it's difficult, right? Now, another similar instance, like Prahlad Maharaj is put the Lord in the same situation. Prahlad Maharaj, in the great meditation of such a, he was meditating on the Lord. He sees the Lord everywhere. Hiranyakashipu asked him, "Where is your Lord?" Prahlad Maharaj said, "He's in the pillar." Of course, probably he didn't realize in the sense of, okay, Lord, but Lord does exist in the pillar. Prahlad Maharaj is right. Right? Satyam vidhatum nijavritya bhashitam. And Narad Muni describes, just to prove the satya means make it true. Nijavritya bhashitam. Nija means own, personal devotee. The word bhashita means words. Vyaptam cha bhuteshu akhileshu chatmana. That personality who lives everywhere, who exists everywhere. That personality takes the form of ati adbhuta, rupam advayam. Stambhe savayam namrigam cha manusa. From the stambha, the pillar, savayam, in that the palace of Hiranyakashipu. Who comes up? What kind of rupa? Namrigam, not animal. Namanusam is not human being. Just to prove, Hiranyakashipu asked, "Where is your God?" He said, "He's in the pillar. He's there. He's everywhere." And Hiranyakashipu says, "Is he in that pillar?" I think the only thing he could see was a pillar next to him, probably. And says, "Is he in this pillar?" Prahlad Maharaj said, "Yes." And then Lord has to come out of that pillar because he has to prove the word of his devotee. One side, Brahma there gives all this benediction. Lord has to come and fulfill. Okay, now he can't be killed during a day, he cannot be killed during a night. What time he comes? Sandhya time. Sandhya time is that the junction between the end of the day and then the beginning of night. It's called Sandhya. Not in the sky, not in the land. How does he kill him? Lap. Is a lap considered land or sky? No. See, Lord has to fulfill every word of his devotee. And he has to take all this. He can't be, no animal, no human being. And Nrsimhadev is not animal or human being. It's not created by Brahma. There's no creatures like, has got a half animal, half man. Right? Such is dear our Lord. Huh? Wow, so these such a, the glories of Prahlad Maharaj. What an exalted devotee. Huh? What blessings we have. Yeah? Even if you can be a devotee of a drop as much as Prahlad Maharaj, I think our life will be perfected. So now, from next onwards, this I think 7 or 8, 9 chapters, you're going to hear the beautiful the prayers that is just coming out of spontaneously coming out of this Prahlad Maharaj. Bhagavatam is every sloka, every verse, every word is a nectar. Such is the qualities of Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj. So I'll probably stop here. I went to any questions, comments, corrections? Can we give a mic, bro? Do we have a mic? Thank you.
Part of the explanation.
Can you put a little closer?
You also mentioned about the unnatural pride, about those young wealth, and so can we understand there is something like natural pride?
Natural pride. So the question is, what is unnatural pride, and what is natural pride?
Yeah,
right?
You just clearly understood that unnatural pride is the
in my understanding, probably I'm to be corrected. Natural pride is anything that is related to God. If you serve God, naturally be proud. If you are serving God, naturally proud. If you're serving Vaishnavas, be naturally proud. If you're humble in connection to Krishna, that's naturally proud. Take a pride. Unnatural pride is opposite. You have a wealth, you want to dominate, you want to enjoy your senses. That's pride. You dominate others, that is pride. Unnatural pride. Even it's proud, you be proud because you have it. But you utilizing in a wrong other way. Not related to God. Any activities that is serve and be connected to a God in the positive sense is a natural pride. Any activities that is being misused or for the sense pleasure of our own benefit or senses, whatever, is unnatural pride, is my understanding.
Thank you, bro. If you allow me another question,
yes, sure.
It's a little bit more related to that beautiful presentation that you did regarding how the Lord endeavored to satisfy the two devotees, because they are His devotees, the predicament that the Lord has. I wonder, for example, we know that Lord Nrsimha is an incarnation of the Lord that comes in every day of Brahma. So, if this time Lord Nrsimha told Brahma, "Do not do this again. Don't give these benedictions." So Brahma followed the instructions. So the next Nrsimha incarnation that will come should come in a different context, a different way, I guess, because.
I haven't found the reference to say yes or no to this question, whether that Lord Nrsimha, because now if one of the verses, Lord Nrsimha does advise Brahma to actually avoid giving these kind of benediction, right? And whether the Lord next Nrsimha that's going to appear and is going to be followed, this is my kind of speculation, you would say. or my that pastime will go on, it will happen, but it may come into a slightly in a different contextual. Just like Varahadev, sometimes he comes Shweta Varaha, sometimes he comes in a white, sometimes he comes as a Rakta Varaha or the red Varaha, right? Sometimes it is mentioned that he picks up the Mother Earth globe from the bottom of the, and sometimes in some other references also he lifts us the whole Bhumandala in a different kalpa, different pastimes. So it may vary a little bit, or it may have a different condition, slightly different condition. So, I mean, for the Lord, everything is, whatever condition you may give, Lord has got He can snap it up, He can do it. But in whether He exactly comes in the same, He gives the same kind of benedicts and everything, I don't have the references to tell you yes or no. But Lord is the Leeladhari. He can create in some other kind of Leela in a similar context. Yeah, it can be. So, yeah,
It's another question, if you don't mind, because
sure,
it goes... when you mention about the resident different varshas, you also mention about Bhumi residing in a different varsha, that Bharatan varsha. So,
Uttara Kuru Varsha, yes.
Yeah, and just trying to understand, you can reside in a different place and be I don't know, how can we say it about Bhumi, because she has the personification of Bharata Varsha is Bhumi, and all her body, all her expression is there, and she also resides in another Varsha. That means she has different bodies, maybe, or energies, or how we can understand that.
As far as my understanding, just like Ganga, you can say whole entire body of the water of Ganges is Ganga, and within that there is Ganga personification, a personality, a person who is in charge, who he sees. So there are two different elements here. When we say Bhumi, Bhumi is just the earth, the element. Now, who is in charge, who controls that is Bhumi Devi. It's a personality. That, the personality, the residence of that personality is Uttara Kuruvarsha. She resides there. From there she can control. She's not in the form of the earth, what we see as in gross earth. This is an immaterial element. That element is managed and controlled by Bhumi Devi, who is the personification of, you can say, as Bhumi, as my understanding. So that personality, who is the personification, resides in the Kuruvarsha, Uttara Kuruvarsha, and she worships Bharadev. In
the same way, can we say the inhabitants of Kim Purusha Varsha, like Hanuman and all his Vanara friends, they help Lord Ram to...
They worship Lord Ramachandra, yes.
And also when they assist Lord Ram in his pastimes in Bharata Varsha. So...
yes, they come to Bharata Varsha when the time is there. As my understanding is, they are residing. The Hanuman is Chiranjeevi. Chiranjeevi means he would live as long as Lord Brahma lives, the life of Lord Brahma, right? In fact, I mean, very interesting information I heard just a few days. I mean, when I was listening to the lectures on the cosmology by Pavaneshwar Prabhu from Eco Village, he mentioned about Hanuman. He mentions that Hanuman is being given a benediction because these Brahma, Varuna, Shudra, the Yama and everything, these are positions. They are designations. So the next, after this current Brahma, the next Brahma is Hanuman, going to be our Brahma. That's what I heard. I mean, this is just heard from that. He refers to some Puranas, yes, mentions that next Brahma is our that current Hanuma who served Lord Ramachandra as Hanuma is going to become a Brahma. Just the information, but it was there. But yeah, as Hanuman is living there and worshipping Lord Ramachandra, Prahlad Maharaj is living in the Harivarsha and worshipping Lord Nrsingadev. Just like when the pastime of Bhamanadev took place, Prahlad Maharaj went from Harivarsha into Sutraloka where Bali Maharaj is residing. So Prahlad Maharaj is still living there and worshipping Lord Nrsingadev. So these are, they're given this. It's very, intricate. This is the information, some of the information I have. It's very quite, intricate and, yeah.
Then we understand also that because as a pure devotee,
Yeah.
they can extend themselves in their service in a different way.
Sometimes they have given that power, yes. Devotee can be in multiple places at multiple times. Even we hear in Charitamrita there are the multiple personalities in one body. For example, Advaita Acharya is the combination of Lord Sadashiva and Mahavishnu. Haridas Thakur is the combination of Lord Brahma and Prahlad Maharaj. So they can be, yes, they are given, but they have to be special given, granted or given by personality of Godhead to be in that situation. Can be, but I don't know.
In the case, for example, like one of the Vaikuntha planets, Lord Ram is residing there.
Yes.
And
Hanuman is there, yeah.
And at the same time, his pastime here and then within
Yes, yeah. It's Lord creation is wonderful. I mean, with our little head, little brain, size of one little half a coconut, we're trying to analyze this entire cosmos. Forget it. It's not in our tiny brain to assimilate and trying to make it logically make a sense. It will not. It cannot. It's just beyond us. But whatever little information we have in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, we just faithfully accept and,
I should say also understanding the glories of that devotee, because it's quite beautiful the way you have it presented. Even in the Rig Veda, is described the pastime of
Vitrasura. Yeah.
The glorification is for Ravindra.
Yes.
But Bhavadan is more to Bhakti. It's glorifying Vitrasura.
Yes. Correct. Yeah, as a devotee. Yes. Yeah. Okay, any other points? Okay, we'll end here, 9 o'clock. Granthrat Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha Vallabh ki jai, Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadramai ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.